Apple announced the iPad, so you'd think that the rumors would be over. No, that's not the case. We're talking to Dana Wollman and Alfredo Padilla about this on The Bottom Line.
Times are tough, so save time and money by skipping business trips and using GoToMeeting. Visit gotomeeting.com/techpodcast and get 30 days for free.
Apple is a favorite of rumor mongers. The company's secrecy makes it so easy to start wondering, what are they doing next? There are a couple of rumors floating around right now about the iPad, a Verizon version of it, and that the iPad might actually have a camera. Dana, do you think if these rumors are true, does this make the iPad an actual more desirable device now?
Sadly, at least I don't think the Verizon rumor is true, at least not anytime soon. I think people, well, especially nerds, would be delighted to have a Verizon-powered iPad, if only because of all the problems people have been reporting with AT&T coverage so far on the iPhone. However, I'm not sure that the Verizon network would fare too much better under, depending on how many units were sold. I'm not sure that the number of units would match the units for the iPhone. And certainly I think a webcam would be a logical upgrade for the iPad. However, I'm also not convinced of how many people want a camera on a device that size. I'm not sure if having a camera would be attempting to do too many things in one device, or if there is such a thing.
Alfredo, what do you think? Same question. Do you think that these two things, or just even either one of them, makes the iPad, which seems to be a very confusing product, people don't know. I mean, they have a smartphone and they have a laptop. They're wondering why would they want this. If either one of these were true, do you think people would want it more?
I mean, I think that if it does make them want it more, they're missing the whole point of the iPad. Now, I was a little bit confused by it when I first saw it as well. I'm warming up a bit more to it. But having a camera or being available on Verizon, to me, is a secondary issue. What Apple is trying to pitch here is a whole new computing platform. And those two things are just orthogonal to that, not that important. The iPad's going to succeed or not succeed based on whether people like the computing experience. And whether you're able to video chat with your mom is just not going to be that important.
I don't know. I mean, the thing is about this device is that people just don't see the need for it right now. That's the problem I'm having with it. I mean, I like certain Apple products. I'll use whatever works for the job. Like, they're tools to me. Computers are tools. And for the most part, when I've talked to people, they don't seem to know what's the problem that the iPad's trying to solve. Dana, do you see what hole are they trying to fill here? I know they're trying to be between the laptop and between the smartphone, but I mean, is that really something that people want?
I think what's confusing a lot of people, including a lot of my colleagues in the tech industry, is that the iPad is ambitiously competing against not just one, but several product categories. Definitely Steve Jobs pointedly made reference to the Kindle in his presentation. So the iPad is definitely competing with dedicated e-readers, but he also made reference to netbooks, saying that they're not good at anything. I think that's a direct quote. So he's going after several product categories, and I think that's what has some people confused. It claims to be a better ergonomic experience and a better experience visually overall than a netbook, but also claims to improve on the e-reader experience. And I think because people aren't used to thinking of those two devices in the same thought, it sort of overwhelms some people in trying to wrap their minds around when they would use this device.
I also think there's a problem with perspective. I actually wrote an article today about this. I think a lot of people, you hear this refrain over and over again, they're talking about the iPad as a big iPod Touch or a big iPhone. And they think about applications on the iPad from the perspective of the iPhone and the iPod Touch. Small, phone-focused applications that are going to be blown up. I think the way Apple is thinking about this and the way a lot of developers are thinking about it are thinking of it from the other direction. The iPad isn't a big iPod Touch. The iPod Touch is a small iPad. And the level of software that you can create for this device is going to create, in Apple's opinion, a computing experience that will compete very favorably with things like netbooks. And you can see that with the way that they put iWork at the center of their presentation for the iPad. They were showing off what they think are desktop caliber applications, not little dinky phone applications.
Yeah, that was one of the cooler things I thought about with the iPhone and the iPod Touch. The fact that you had this one device that could become anything. I mean, people have done music applications, work applications, I mean, database applications, whatever you could think of, this device could start doing that because it had no buttons. I mean, that's what I'm starting to think about the iPad. It's not the actual hardware. It doesn't matter if they have Verizon, AT&T, or a camera. It's really what the developers do with the applications that is really going to make this thing any different. And like Alfredo, like you were saying, the fact is they have a totally different platform to develop for now with a much larger screen size. I think you could see some really interesting things out of this.
Yeah, and I think the whole Verizon thing is totally overblown by the tech news industry as well. I mean, I understand it sucks in New York. I understand AT&T sucks in New York and sucks in San Francisco. But frankly, I live in Boston. I travel a lot to Seattle. I have never had a single problem with AT&T. And Verizon is meaningless to me, and I think it's meaningless to the millions of people that live outside those two cities.
Dana, anything to add? Plug?
Well, I definitely agree about the network, that there are a lot of people who don't care. I think it's definitely people in the tech community who care, and I think that, of course, there's a contract issue. People don't necessarily want to switch to AT&T, and I think people want cool devices on Verizon, although lately a lot of Android handsets have, I guess, quelled people's appetites a little bit. And I would agree with you on the software issue, which is that very few rumors that we heard actually had to do with the hardware. Even people in the tech community seemed to tire of those rumors pretty quickly, that it was really about the software and how intuitive it was and how familiar people are with it. And I think that's the key, that sort of going back to that giant iPod Touch issue, is that because it's an interface people are familiar, not just developers, but people, that's really what drives its potential.
Dana Wollman from Laptop Magazine, thanks for being with us. Alfredo Padilla from TheAppleBlog. You can find all the stuff at TheAppleBlog.com. And TechView videos are everywhere. You can subscribe to them via RSS. All the info is at TechView.com. Thanks again for your time, and we'll see everyone later. Bye.
Distribution services provided by Tubemogul. Video distribution and analytics, Tubemogul.com.